we're going to kill him. You're going to kill the boss of bosses. Frankie the Chico turned to me and said, Sammy, put it together. I said, all right. John Gotti will drive, and I'll be in that car.
If you look from 1970 to 1990, everything I've read about you is you admitted and admit that you were involved in 19 murders in that 20-year period. It's almost one a year.
The Mafia, the Oath, and John Gotti. I'm switching sides.
Do you feel like you've reconciled this with God, or do you want to?
No, I already did.
All right, if you're like me, you're obsessed. And ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with the mob life. We love, movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas. I mean, when I can quote these movies verbatim, I mean, that kind of tells you where my head is at. And, I remember when I was delivering papers as a kid and all the stories about the Gambino crime family and 5 families and omertà and La Cosa Nostra and all this. I'd read about it, I'd be fascinated by it. The trials of John Gotti, all of that happened. I followed it all. And maybe the most notorious of all is our guest today. Sammy the Bull Gravano. He, by the way, became the number 2. He's the underboss under John Gotti. Sammy, you're not here to whack me, right?
No, no.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. What a life you've led.
Yeah, it was pretty wild life.
Pretty wild life.
Yeah.
In every respect. All right, so Sammy is because that part of your name you resembled your uncle.
Yes.
The Bull comes from the fact that you were scrappy, that you weren't willing to fight anybody.
Well, I was fighting for my bike. Some kids who were older than me stole my bike. People saw it. They told me, Sammy, the bike is down by the fruit and vegetable store down the corner. I went down there. They were 2-3 years older than me.
Right.
And I fought like crazy for the bike. Some mob guys were across the street. And they were asking the guy who broke it up, what's going on? And he says, it's Kay and Jerry's son. What's your name? Sammy. He fought like a bull, you see it? That name stuck like glue.
Right there. And you grew up in Bensonhurst in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, Bensonhurst.
It's funny because my dad grew up in Bed-Stuy. My mom grew up in the South Bronx. Not exactly, tough neighborhoods, right?
Tough neighborhoods, yes.
You think of like the way we might have grown up. I know when I grew up, we were really into sports. We played hockey and basketball and baseball. There wasn't a single day that we were playing and that we didn't drop the gloves, have a fight, and, then you get back to playing the sport, no harm, no foul. If a kid in school has a fight today, they want to send you to, a shrink. They may kick you out of school. To me, it was just a normal part of growing up.
See, it sounds like Bensonhurst.
Exactly. I had friends from there.
Yes, same exact thing. Same exact thing.
What now, because I think your whole life is amazing, what drew you into mob life? And particularly, you were drawn to it. What was it that drew you to that life?
The whole lifestyle. The whole lifestyle around the neighborhood was that way. Guys in the corner standing there shooting crap in the street, cop cars sitting there, guys in the bar. The whole neighborhood seemed to be connected in one way or another. It was never a big thing. Some guy got found in a trunk. You're growing up in a neighborhood that's like the Wild West, and you were attracted to it. The big diamond pinky rings, the suits, the girls, the cars, the whole thing. It was, this is what I want to be when I grow up. You're growing up, you're seeing that, and you're looking up to them. I remember we were in a pool room one night, and everybody went running to the windows. I was short, I couldn't see. Guys helping me up, standing up. And what it was, in a bar, Joe Bonanno came out with a fedora, long coat, a white scarf around.
This is the head of the Bonanno crime family.
The head of the Bonanno family, and he was a tremendous name, Joe Bonanno. And it was like the whole place unloaded just to see him. So growing up in a neighborhood like that, it was everything. It was, everything you wanted to be.
So were you attracted to the lifestyle, the wealth that was associated, the respect that that members of that group were commanding, and that you wanted that for your own life?
I think it was more the respect and the name. They named it was a family, the Gambino family, Colombo family. I was always attracted to family. I had a great family. My mother was a seamstress. My father was a painter. And they were legitimate people. Our family, I love my family. I was very close to them. And this felt like family, an extended family. It was the neighborhood. So, I mean, you just grew up that way. We had 2 Jewish neighborhoods, 3 houses were attached, 2 Jewish neighborhoods. And my father was so respectful when it was our Christmas holidays. We decorated with the lights and everything, and then they put the Hanukkah lights up. So the kids, when I went out, they said, "You're a Jew." I said, "I'm not a Jew. I'm Italian." And so when I went in, I said, "Dad," they were calling me a Jew. "Why are you putting those Hanukkah lights?" Because both of our neighbors are Jewish. Their holidays are right around ours. Respect of that, and we put it up. So I started learning things like that. The neighborhood was like our family, whether they were Jewish, Italian, Irish, German, whatever they were family. Yep. So the Mafia seemed to have that, same thing. When I got out of school, school wasn't for me. I was dyslexic, and just school wasn't.
They didn't know what it was then.
They had no idea what it was. You were just dumb. And I got left back in the 4th grade, and again in the 7th grade, and that was the end of school. They called my family in. They said, "Listen, we're sending him to 600 school, and he's not even 16. We can't throw him out. When he's 16, you come back and sign him out, or he's going to reform school." And I did all
By the way,
of those
that's an
things.
old term we don't use anymore, reform school. I heard it my whole life. You got to be going to reform school.
Right. Right. So it was always like that, and you looked up to things and people. And I was in a gang when I got out of school.
Yeah, what was the name? I read the name of the gang. I forgot.
The Rampers.
Yeah.
So I was in a gang, and we knew who they were. They were dangerous. We stayed away from us. It was the Rampers. It was us against the world. We're going to stay away from the Mafia. We're going to stay away from all these things. At 19 years old, I got drafted and went into the Army during the Vietnam War. And when I came out, I was 21. I went right back with my friends, but my friends were different. It wasn't us against the world. This one belonged to the Colombo family. This guy joined the Gravano family. This guy, Genevieve's family. I said, I thought we weren't going to do that. So that's what I found. And a friend of mine, Tommy Spiro, his uncle, Shorty Spiro, wanted to talk to me. And I met with him, and he said, "Sammy, you're a pretty tough kid. You raise your hands right away. You're going to raise your hands to the wrong guy, and you're going to get killed for sure, because you have no backing. You have no family. If you come with me into the Colombo family, nobody could touch you." That was music to my ears. I shook his hand. Next thing I know, I was taken down to meet Carmine Persico.
Right.
And I was in the Colombo family as an associate.
You have to get introduced that way.
Well, yes. I became an associate.
Right.
I mean, they knew me personally. Carmine didn't, so he had to meet me.
And to be a made man, you have to be Italian. There was no, like, where I grew up, you're describing similar neighborhoods. I mean, you were either Irish, Italian, or Jewish where I lived.
Right.
That was, then maybe German, but more Irish, Italian, Jewish. That was just, Long Island, New York.
Right.
And a lot of people escaping Brooklyn and the Bronx and places like that. It was like the old Levittown homes that they were building on in Long Island.
Right. I remember those times as well. And they did that again with Staten Island. Everybody wanted to get away from Brooklyn and go live in the country.
The Staten Island's the country?
I know that's what they called it, but it was right over the bridge. Well, it was country before the bridge.
That's true.
It was just farms. So they all went there. But the problem is not only street people went there, cops went there. Everybody moved out of Brooklyn to get away from the violence and the crime and stuff like that. And it was almost the same thing, just with a longer drive.
So you're an associate. This is your social group. Now you have a family to back you, even though you're not. You've not become a made man.
Right.
You begin to realize how they make their money at what point. And let me pause here because this is interesting to me. Gambling, loan sharking, prostitution. Okay, can you not argue that the government now is running the numbers? It's called lotto.
Without a doubt.
But that was a crime. Or loan sharking, 25% interest rate for a credit card. Really? I don't know what you charged back then. Maybe more. But all of these things, even prostitution is legal in parts of the country. In other words, before drugs came onto the scene for the mob, and that became very controversial, and there were people that there were people in your world that wanted no part of the drug scene.
Not that many.
Not that many, because they knew it was going to destroy people. I mean, the other things they felt wouldn't destroy families. But all of those things now the government does. Kind of ironic that a lot of probably friends of yours went to jail for all of those things that now the government makes a fortune on. Just as a side note, your thoughts?
Without a doubt. They even have the horses.
Right.
Horseback betting. So
OTB.
OTB. So you can bet or do anything that we did, but they don't go to prison for it. And it became laws that they're able to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So when you talk about, let's go to when you were invited into the family and the loyalty factor, omertà, Cosa Nostra, a blood oath, a brotherhood. You were approached to be a member, in this case, of the Gambino family, correct?
No, I started, yes, when I became a made member, I was transferred from the Colombo family earlier than that.
Right.
And put into the Gambino family. And I had a big problem with the Colombos. The guy who brought me in, Shorty Spiro, there was a big problem between me and his brother. Yeah. And so they had to break us up. And the deal was that they transferred me to the Gambino family.
Okay. So they have this whole ceremony when this is it, and this is for life.
Yes.
Explain that ceremony.
Well, what happened is when I left the Colombo family, I knew a guy named Sally Albanese. He was a made guy. And he saw me in a bar one night, and he said, Sammy, you're going to be asked to go with Tato Arello, who was a captain. I grew up with his son. I knew of him. I didn't know him personally. He's going to ask you to go to a meeting. Don't worry about it. Good things are going to happen for you. And I kind of heard that, and I put two and two together because his son was going to that same ceremony. So I figured, well, we're not going to get killed. If we were getting killed, his son's not going to be there. So...
Can I interrupt? Was there always a fear you might get killed?
A little bit in the beginning, but after a while, no. Because once I took the oath to become a made member, I always had in the back of my head, sooner or later, I'm going to get killed or I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life. And that kind of eliminated fear for me.
You accepted that. That was your fate.
That's my fate. That's what's going to happen to most guys. They get killed left and right. But I also knew that if you are in a scumbag and you did the right thing with people, that more than likely you could survive.
Being a stand-up guy.
Right, being a stand-up guy. So they're not going to kill you if you're an earner. You're doing what you're told when you're asked to do it. And you don't rob people. You don't backstab. You don't do certain things. You don't have to worry. A couple of times, guys who were around me, my crew, let's hold up on some of the money instead of kicking it up. Lie about the figure. And I told them, I said, no. You know what's going to happen when we do that? We're always going to have it in the back of our mind. When we're getting called, maybe he found out we lied. Yeah. And we would get killed. So I never wanted to do that. And I wanted to deal honorably with those people, as honorable as I can get. So I never had that fear walking around. They would have to kill me for a reason. They don't just kill normally.
Yeah. Michael Francese's been here. I know you guys had a little feud, but you got over it, right?
We had a feud. Yeah, we got over it.
I mean, I got along great with him, and I mean, his family was here. We had a great conversation.
Right.
I think he said that you guys got along, and what was interesting is he took a very different tact as he tells his story.
Right.
He was like a high level earner, and like in the would you agree with that? That he figured out a way to make a lot of money for the family, and which kind of took him out of the other side of mob life, which is the side that ultimately you got into, which is you got to kill people, beat them up, and so on and so forth, right?
I don't buy that.
You don't buy that at all?
No, because everybody has to kill.
Have to.
Have to. When you're asked to kill, when you take the oath,
Right.
and the saint is burning in your hand, the first thing they'll ask you, if we ask you to kill for the family, for the good of the family, would you do it? Your answer better be yes, or they'll throw you out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So your answer is yes. Then they say, what finger would you use? I pointed to my index finger.
Mm-hmm.
Another Tato came with a knife, cut my finger, put my blood on the saint.
Do you know what saint it was?
I don't remember the name of the saint.
No.
But, and then they're reading you the oath you're taking. They tell you a lot of things that are not real in a way, but they want to make it so strong in your head to understand. So when they tell you this brotherhood is above God, country, and your personal family, and you hearing that, and you believe in that, they tell you your mother is dying in bed, but the boss wants to see you. Do you leave your mother's side and go see the boss? Yes. It better be yes. Because this thing comes first. Now, nobody's going to do that. But they're trying to show you how much of an oath you're taking. So when you ask to kill, if you say no, they will kill you. They tell you that. You will die. And whoever it is will die anyway. So you have to do it. If it's your best friend, if it's your family member, you have to do it. Of course, they'll give you a reason. But they, at the ceremony, they make it so strong when they talk to you. Now, I always believed in God. I'm not going to believe in the mob more than God.
Were you raised in any particular religion, Catholic? Or?
I was raised as a Catholic. The church really wasn't my thing, but I always believed in God. So you're not going to make me not believe in God, but they're trying to tell you how much of an oath what you're saying and taking this oath. You better live by this oath.
It's interesting you say you've always believed in God. It's the most important thing in my life. I'm a Christian.
Right.
I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic schools for 12 years. And that you believe in God. We both know what the Bible says about killing, and you're joining an organization where you know if they ask you to kill, you're going to have to kill. Did you have any conflict over that? Did you have any trepidation over it? Did you question that at all in your head? Is this really what I want to do?
No, I had no question about it. I understood the question to be more of to make you believe in this thing 100% if you're going to take the oath. Or don't take the oath.
So you went in with your eyes wide open?
Wide open. And I understood that I was in the military, like I said, and I was trained to kill. And you get medals, a pat on the back. You're killing for your country. You're fighting for your country. So you're fighting for your country and you're fighting for the military. And you're going to kill. And they teach you to kill. You don't have any reservations about that. To me, Cosa Nostra was the same as the military. The same as a cop who goes and stops some criminal, and they can't stop him and they'll shoot him. He can't stand there frozen and not shoot the guy. He has to. So this is not much different. There's more illegal things about it, but it's not much different like we were talking about the government's doing those things. The government was doing those things when I took the oath. I already was taught how to kill, how to do whatever for the country. And I would get medals. So I knew that in Cosa Nostra, I'm taking this oath. Sooner or later, I would be asked to kill.
All right, let's be honest. Hearing loss is something that a lot of people out there don't want to talk about. I've been on radio like 30 plus years, more than I want to count, and I do have some hearing loss, unfortunately. It can be frustrating, even embarrassing. Maybe you turn the TV up too loud, you drive the rest of the family crazy, or maybe you're in a restaurant, you're asking people to repeat themselves again and again, or maybe nodding along in a conversation when you didn't quite hear what was said. But for too long, a lot of people felt like hearing aids made them look old. Everything's changed. Audien is changing that by making hearing aids modern, discreet, and actually kind of cool again. They have a sleek design that literally, it looks like, to be honest, headphones more than old-fashioned hearing aids. And by the way, they're making them very affordable as well. Audien was founded by 3 grandsons who wanted to help their grandparents hear better. How cool is that? So instead of costing thousands, Audien, guess what? Their hearing aids start just $98. No prescription, no huge markup. You order online, they ship it to your door, and you can start hearing better right now, right away. Audien helps you be connected, once again, with those you care about, your family, and by the way, not having to say, what, every 2 minutes. Over 1.5 million Americans now use Audien every day, and they love it. Get your hearing back at audienhearing.com. That's audienhearing, one word.com. It really is an amazing psychological commitment that you're making. I mean, they are hardcore indoctrinating you. Let's talk about this, because I think this is, a pretty interesting fact. If you look from 1970 to 1990, everything I've read about you is you admitted and admit that you were involved in 19 murders in that 20-year period. That's almost one a year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you pulled the trigger. Sometimes you helped plan it. Sometimes you had an involvement in 19.
Most of the time, I'm planning it. I'm a good planner.
Okay. Even including the case of Outside of Sparks with Paul Castellano.
I was the one who planned that entire...
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Well, it worked out okay. Nobody got in trouble.
Not one innocent person was killed.
Yeah.
I could tell you a little bit about that if you want to hear that.
He was the head of the Gambino crime family after Carlos Gambino died, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love. Well, we can get to that. Yeah. Go ahead. Why don't you tell us? You planned the whole thing.
First got a message from this guy DB, who was a made guy in the family. He said John Gotti's partner Angelo Ruggiero wants to talk to you in Queens. I drove to Queens. I went there. He was on a corner, and he said, Sammy, we have problems with Paul. I need your help.
Right.
We need your help, me and John Gotti.
Right.
I said, to do what? We're going to kill him. You're going to kill the boss of bosses. Yes. And we need your help. And he always put it like, we need a favor from you. And I told him, Angelo, first of all, where's John Gotti? You're talking to me. Where is he? Well, he had something to do. He had something more important than asking me to kill the boss of bosses or help you kill the boss of bosses. I don't know what's more important than that. I don't know how you think. This isn't just
about
like...
the head of the Gambino crime family.
Yes, who at that time was literally the most influential on the commission. So he's almost literally the boss of bosses. And you're asking a favor. It's like you asking me, Sammy, the favor is you, hey, Sammy, could you stop in the grocery store and get me a gallon of milk on your way home? That's a favor.
That's a favor.
Killing the boss of bosses it's not a favor, bro.
That's a big deal.
This is a big deal. And
by the way, without sanction, you then could be up next. They could kill you right after.
Yes. We know immediately after this thing is done, a war is going to break out.
Yeah.
He has connections with the Westies, the Irish mob. He's got connections in Italy with the Italian mobs in Italy. And all the other families. Chin Gigante was very close to him, the head of the Genovese family. A lot of the families, and most of our family, we would be in a war instantly. And that's what it was. And we were talking amongst us. Frankie DeChico was a major player in it. Because when I left Angelo that day, I said, listen, I'm not going to tell anybody what you asked me, but I'm going straight to Frankie DeChico's house. I'm going to talk to him about what you said. Go ahead, he'll be with us. And I left and I went to Frankie DeChico's house. I didn't grow up with John Gotti like people think. I didn't know him that well. I didn't do crimes with him. So when I went and talked with Frankie DeChico, I said, listen, bro, they got caught dealing drugs. Mm-hmm. They're using those tapes against Paul in his case. They're using those tapes eventually in the commission case. Angelo talked about not only drugs, but all of the bosses, underbosses. These tapes are going to destroy the mafia. We didn't do that, Frankie. There's no reason for me to want to kill Paul.
You didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it, no. It's not something I was doing. I lived by the rules. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do anything. So why am I going to commit suicide here with this hit? It's too big. There's going to be a retaliation. Day one, we're going to be at war. Frankie DeChico said, Sammy, Paul did a lot of things that are bad. And I understood that. He killed a captain. He allowed a captain to be killed by the Genovese family because they were complaining about a guy in Connecticut, captain. And he told Chin, go ahead, kill him. Now, you don't do that. You're a member of our family. If he did wrong, we kill him, not Chin. One. Number two, maybe he was fighting and he wasn't wrong. He's supposed to fight for his ground in Connecticut, for us. And maybe Chin don't like it. What do we care? Why we kill our own guy? So there was that. There was a few things that he did. And then Frankie said, Sammy, and what he did to you with your personal family, don't forget that. We could make John the boss if we take him out. And me and you will be the power behind the throne. If he doesn't check himself, how he acts and conducts himself and thinks, I give you my word, we'll kill him. I'll be the boss. You'll be my underboss. Now, Frankie DeChico was like a big brother to me. If I said no, I'm going to be fighting against Frankie because he wants in. I would never want to fight against him. And I want to tell you about Frankie DeChico a little bit. If you took John Gotti and his whole crew, and you took me and my whole crew, and put them together, we were on a pimple on Frankie DeChico's ass. Mm-hmm. That's how powerful he was. Everybody in his family was made. The women, I think if you killed somebody in front of the women, they would help you drag the guy out. The whole family was mob-oriented.
Everybody knew.
Everybody knew that, and they were great. And he was great. He was for the underdog all the time. Everybody loved him, as tough as he was. So when he told me that, I said, Frankie, I'll never go against you. Every time I'm in trouble and I turn around, you're there to help me. And I decided, well, if you're going, then I'll do it with you. And we shook hands. We talked about it for a long time, he was on trial, going back and forth to court. Those tapes, he was demanding those tapes from Angelo Ruggiero. And he couldn't get it. At one point, Frankie DeChico and John Gotti went to Neil Della Croce. He was dying of cancer in his house.
Right.
We wanted his blessings. He was a street boss. He was the underboss. Neil turned around when he was asked for his blessings. He said, why would I do that? He told John Gotti and Angelo Ruggiero, You guys broke every rule in the book. And now you want to kill him. He's the boss. What did he do? There was no answer. They couldn't answer that. Neil never gave us permission. He didn't fight us, but he didn't give us permission. Now, we were trying to get this. Too many people were starting to know. And Frankie said, too many people know. Sammy, let's move into this guy, Joe Watts, had a mansion, a beautiful home in Staten Island, maid's quarters, the whole 9 yards. Let's get rid of the maid, get her out, and let's move in there and do this. Don't tell your crew what's going on. Tell your crew, if anybody comes to meet me, they want to meet me for whatever reason, take down the date and the time and the place. I'll do the same. Mm-hmm. If we have people asking for a meeting on Tuesday at 10 o'clock in a similar place, they know and we're going to get hit. We got to bunk in and just keep our ears open.
Word was out, you think?
Well, it didn't get out yet, that's for sure. Okay. No, it didn't get out yet. So we moved into Joe Watts' house. Me, Frankie DeChico, Joe Watts owned the house. He was there. There was another guy named Frankie Botts, a real tough guy, wasn't a maid guy. He lived with us. So we were armed to the teeth all the time while we lived together. Always ready to go. Just, when is it going to happen? And we couldn't find a place. It just wouldn't happen. And one day, somebody went to Frankie DeChico's crew and said, listen, Paul Castellano's having a meeting in Spark Steakhouse. They want Frankie to come at 5:30, such and such a day. I think it was the 16th of December. So when Frankie heard that from one of his guys, he said, listen, this is what I was told. We were sitting in the basement, Joe Watts, John Gotti, Frankie DeChico, and myself. And we were talking, just like we're talking. And I said, that's it. John Gotti said, what do you mean, that's it? We know where he's going to be. We know the time. We know the place. And he can't park anywhere but right in front of the place where the guy takes your car and puts it away. There's no spots. There's no place to park. We know where he's going to park. We know everything. That's it. That's the place. John said, are you crazy? The people don't go home. They're coming out of their places. They're not going home. People are coming in Christmas shopping. The streets are packed. Not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people now. And there's a cop on every corner. He was talking to me. And I said, that's perfect. The confusion is going to work in our favor. When the shots go flying, people will go flying in every which direction. Cops won't know what the hell is going on. And if the cops get involved, we kill them too. We shoot it out. We got to kill the two of them together. Tommy Bellotti was going to take over if Paul went to prison. Mm-hmm. And he was a very dangerous guy, a bully type of guy, dangerous guy, wasn't well liked at all. John says, this is insane. Looked at Frankie. Frankie DeChico says, listen, he was in the Colombo War, meaning me. He was in the war in Philadelphia. He's already been involved in 2 wars. He's a great planner. I love the idea. If you don't like it, John, I'm out. Sammy, are you out? Yes. And then he said, all right. He couldn't go with it, because then we would be his enemies. He says, okay. And we shook hands. That's what's going to get done. Our crews didn't know who was getting hit. There was going to be a big hit. That's why we were living together. They didn't know who. Right. So this went on, and then there was a meeting in my office on Stowell Avenue. We picked 11 guys who were going to be on the hit. Who's going to be a shooter? Who's going to be a backup shooter? Who's going to be in the car? who's going to be in the joint waiting for this meeting to happen. And Frankie the Chico turned to me and said, Sammy, put it together. I said, all right. John Gotti will drive, and I'll be in that car.
You were with Gotti outside of Sparks.
Outside of Sparks on the next corner. He have to come through this light to get onto that block. We were right on the corner. I says, I'll have a gun. I'll be a backup shooter. I got a .357 Magnum on one hand, and the other hand, I'll have a walkie-talkie. And I'll be talking to the entire team. So everybody's aware. Frankie, you go inside. There's going to be guys, Jimmy Brown, Danny Marino. There'll be guys that are going to be at that meeting in Sparks. You go into that meeting with them with a gun. They all know you. When the shots start to fly, stand up. If they stand up, open your coat, show them the gun, tell them, sit the down. They all know Frankie's a real tough guy. They'll sit. They'll know something big went on. They're being told by you, they'll sit. And the hit will take out to Paul is right in front of the place. We'll take care of that, me and John. I gave the backup shooters where to park their cars, where to stay, where to sit, everything. We surrounded the whole place. 2 shooters would come to Paul, and 2 shooters would be on the other side of the street, would come to Tommy because he'd be on the driver's side. And we would have them trapped. We were in my office and we were talking to the guys, and we told them what was going to happen, who the targets were, and what was going to happen. I was explaining it, just like I'm explaining it to you. Somebody, and I don't know who, it wasn't me, but somebody said the shooters wear a jacket, like a black jacket or a white jacket, the same exact thing, and Russian hats with sunglasses. People won't recognize what's happening and what's going on. I said, that's great. That'll be the dress code for you guys, you 4 guys. And then I told them, they die no matter what. This is a do or die hit. You're not going to get an order like this too often. They die no matter what. I don't give a who dies. One of us die, 2 of us die in this hit. It's a do or die. If the cops come, they start shooting, we shoot back. If we could drag somebody out, so be it. If we can't, we can't. This will be history in Mafia. That's what we have.
It was.
It became that. So they all agreed. There's one guy in there, and I forgot which his name, which one it was. He said, Sammy, can I talk? Of course you could. He said, Sammy, we'll do that exactly like you said, and if we die, I'll meet you in hell. Good, brother. I turned around to everybody else. Did you hear him? Yes. That's our thing. Maybe we'll all wind up in hell. Maybe we'll all die. I don't know. But we're doing this hit. And neither one of them are going to live. We don't care how many people. We don't care about cops. Don't shoot people. Don't shoot other people. Don't do nothing like that unless they try to stop it. Mm-hmm. And then the cops, of course, we shoot it out with them if they get involved. They're on corners. All they do are going to hear shots. They can't even get up to there. There's thousands and tens of thousands of people. They can't even get there. And that's what we did. That next day on the meeting, December 16th, we all went there and we got in our positions. We talked. Before we went, we hugged. We kissed each other goodbye. We didn't know if we were coming home or what. But we were going to do this, come hell or high water. That was the theme. And we went, we got in position, came 5:30, I looked at my watch, nothing. I turned around, I said, John, it's 5:30, they're not here. Now, you know the streets in Manhattan. There's the street, and on both sides there's cars parked. You could just barely get through. And as I'm talking to him, I turn around to my right. I'm in the passenger seat. I turn to my right, and there they are, right next to us. His door and my door are 5 feet apart. I'm grabbing my gun. John says, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." If he turns around, if they turn around and they see us, I'm shooting. No, don't do that. Now, Tommy wasn't looking right at me. He was looking the other way towards the passenger seat. They had that little thing down with a mirror and the light comes on. He was showing him some sort of a card so he could see it and read it. The light turned. I got on the walk. I put my gun down. I got on the walkie-talkie. The light changed. It's the first car on the corner. They're coming out now. Everybody get ready. They went through the light. It was green. Pulled in the exact spot. It was the only spot. So the guy could park the car.
I've been to Sparks. You're right. There's really one spot right in front, and then you move the car.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the only place.
Right. So they pull right into that spot.
Wow.
And the guys with the Russian hats, the two of them, went straight for Paul. Bang. He's getting hit. Tommy was getting out of the car, and he was actually watching it, but trying to duck. But the guys who were across the street got him. Boom. Blew him away. He flopped in the street.
You're watching the whole thing with John Gotti.
Watching the whole thing with John Gotti. People are running everywhere, screaming, yelling, running, dropping bags, things. They were just wanting to get the hell out of it, away from it. No cops. And nobody's trying to stop it. The shooters are moving. And I also told them, we all move at the same time, unless the guy's dead. If you move before the team, keep moving because we're going to kill you. We move at the same time. They were all moving. I said, "John, pull up to it." We went right across the avenue. We pulled up. My windows were tinted. I took the window down about that much. I looked over. Tommy was blown away on the street. I couldn't see Paul because he was already laying in the gutter, in the sidewalk on the other side.
I think most people have seen this image. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I told them, listen, they're gone. Let's go. But the craziest thing, we went to the corner, we made a right, and we were going back to Brooklyn, where we were going to meet by my office. And on the news, it said there was a massive shooting uptown or downtown or whatever they were saying. I said, this is on the news already. He said, put 1010. I pressed the button on the radio.
1010 is a famous radio station, 1010 News.
Yes, 1010 News. I pressed 1010 News on the radio, and boom, Paul Castellano, the boss of bosses, was rubbed down, blah, 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 in Spark Steakhouse.
That fast.
That fast. I had to be 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Oh.
I said, how did the news get this, bro? Did they notice in advance? How did they notice? How did they say and who it was and everything? He said, I don't know. If you gave me $1 million right now, Sean, I can't tell you whether we took the Brooklyn Bridge, the tunnel.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. I do remember pulling up to my place. John got out of the car. There was another car. He went with his guys, and he went back to Queens. Me and Frankie the Chico went back to a house. Now, this part is so crazy. I don't even know if I should say it. But Joe Watts, I didn't want to go back to that house that we were staying there for months. Maybe people knew about it. Maybe people were going to come for us right after the hit. So I didn't want to get caught in that house.
Did you think at that moment you'd be a top suspect?
Oh, we would definitely.
Everybody would know it was you
and John and Frankie and yes.
Yeah.
And so I said, listen, Joe, you have another place? He says, I got a place. I go with broads. It's a crazy decorated place, but I take my girls there when I go out. Well, let's go there. Nobody knows about it? Yeah, then let's go to that place. We went to that place. I was burnt out. I was exhausted, burnt out, tired. I said, I'm going to take a shower. I said, Joe Watts. I said, do you have pajamas? He said, yeah, I got pajamas. Give me a pair of pajamas. I'm going to take a shower. And we're our bedroom, this bedroom over here. So he comes out, and he's got red silk pajamas in his hands like this. And I looked at it, I said, red silk pajamas, bro? You ain't got something else you can wear? He said, this is their pajamas.
Right.
I said, all right. I took a shower, put the pajamas on, and I went and opened the door. And it was a big room like this. Lights all over the place, artificial trees. It was crazy. What it looked like. Looked like a Garden of Eden. I looked up. The whole entire ceiling was mirrored.
Oh, boy.
I said, are you for real, bro? He says, I go here with the broads. They love this.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to go sleep on the couch. So Frankie the Chico says, Sammy, what's the matter? I said, go. If
look.
they know about this apartment, me and you are going to be laying in this bed. It's a heart-shaped bed with a red velvet blanket, and we're going to get killed in that bed, bro. This is how our families are going to see us, shot and dead in this bed.
I want to tell you about trees.com. Now, trees.com, they are America's largest, most trusted online nursery. They have thousands of trees and plants and over 3 million happy customers. And they have all the plants that your yard, your home would ever need, including fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, houseplants, all grown with care, guaranteed to arrive at your house or business healthy. By the way, they're alive, they thrive. That's a guaranteed promise that your plants will arrive happy and healthy. Now, that you don't need a green thumb, just quality plants that you can count on. Also, you get ongoing support from trained plant experts who can help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, learn how to care for those plants every step of the way. Now, you don't have to drive around nurseries or big garden centers, taking up your entire weekend, making your car a complete mess. No, trees.com, they deliver expert-grown plants with garden center quality right to your door in just a few days. Now, fast, easy, online ordering. You click, you order, you grow. It's that simple. More plants than you'll find anywhere else, including rare and very unique varieties. Now, support available 7 days a week. You can do it via email, chat, or phone. Right now, they have great deals going on. Planting essentials up to half off on select plants. And by the way, because you watch this podcast as a viewer, well, guess what? You get 20% off your purchase when you use the promo code HANGOUT when you check out. Now, that's an additional 20% off. Better plants, better growing at trees.com. Trees.com, promo code HANGOUT when you check out. Trees.com/hangout will also work. Now, it's a perfect time to plant. How about this? We'll grow together. Use Hangout to save today. Now, this offer is valid for a limited time. Terms, conditions, they apply. Let's just freeze frame this for a second. So Castellano's dead.
Yeah.
You know they know you're involved. At least you think.
Probably, yeah.
They think you're involved. This is like a no-no in terms of it's not a sanctioned hit.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys went rogue.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you know a war is about to begin. You said that earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know you got a big bullseye on your forehead and on your back.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're hiding out. It's only a small group of you that know. You don't think anybody knows where you know. But you know all hell's about to break loose.
Right.
Here you are today. So you ended up surviving that time.
Right.
And then John became the boss and you became the underboss.
Right.
How did you not get killed with an unsanctioned hit on a boss? That's a big deal.
Well, right after that hit, at first we were running around, me and Frankie, talking to different captains, different meetings.
Right.
And we were feeling the pulse, telling them we didn't know what happened, but don't carry guns. Anything you hear, bring it back to us. It was in a restaurant that I owned, Caesar's East. I had a piece of this restaurant. All the captains met there. I stood behind them while they talked with a gun. Angelo stood on the other side of them with a gun. So these guys, they felt it, they knew exactly what's going on. Joe Gallo, who was the Consigliere family, sat with John Gotti, and he said, I'm the only official left. I'll run the family. I'm going to use John Gotti and Frankie DeCicco and some of these guys. I mean, you might as well told them that we did it.
But you don't. You not only had the Gambino family to worry about. You know, the four other families.
Right. The commission.
You know, for example, we always hear and you always see in the movies about a sit down. If you have issues, you sit down, you talk it out, and you try to come to a peaceful resolution. That's the traditional way of doing it. You guys didn't do it that way. You just went rogue.
Sean,
So
everybody.
Were the other four families pissed?
Sure they were. I'll give you stories. The Genovese people, Chin Gigante gave it to Bobby Manor, who was his consigliere, their Jersey crew, to whack us. They got caught on tape. He went to prison for it. But the explosion of what happened, everybody knew this happened in front of tens of thousands of people, cops on every corner. They thought we were crazy. They were scared of us. The whole mafia was shaken by this. This went worldwide.
Nobody would be crazy enough to whack a boss.
Yes, you got to be a little crazy, and they feared us. I'll give you an example. A guy from the Genovese family, I'm trying to think of his name now. Right now, I don't remember his name, but he called me up. He said, Sammy, I needed to talk to you. We were going to meet. I'm going to cancel the meeting. I said, no, come and meet me. And he said, Sammy, am I in trouble? What are you talking about? He was afraid to meet with me because I don't know what the hell he was afraid of, but I said, what are you worried about? I can't take you out. You're from another family. He said, Sammy, you guys are crazy. Look what you did. They were afraid to meet with us, guys, from other families and everything. And they all knew the war was going to go on.
So how bad did the war get? How did John get to be boss? How did you get to be underboss? Like, talk about that. How long did that period of time take in that transition?
Well, for me to become an underboss took a little while. 2 weeks after, we had a guy who was a janitor in a public school. He got to school at night, opened it up at night. We brought all the captains in to vote John in as the boss.
You said at one point you loved John Gotti.
I did.
And you wanted him to be boss.
Well, I went along with Frankie, but once we did that, I mean, when you're going to do something with...
Brugio? Who you went along with who?
Frankie DeCicco.
Okay, got it.
So, but once we took over, now we're so close to each other, it's crazy. Oh. Now what happens is, 2 months, 3 months after, Frankie DeCicco was blowing up in the car. We were going to go to Jimmy Brown's club and meet guys, and then go down New York and meet John, me and Frankie. We still stayed super close and very tight. I heard the bomb. I ran out. He was blown to pieces. I had a white shirt on like this. He was laying on the floor right outside the thing. A guy came in and said, Frankie, he wanted a lawyer's name. He went through his wallet. I don't have it. I probably have it in the glove compartment of my car. Right. He walked over to the car, opened up the passenger side, opened up the glove box, was going in there, and this guy, somebody pressed the button, and the car blew. And I grabbed him. A police van stopped. Put my hand under his ass. There was no ass. Nothing. It went in his body. The only thing I stopped my hand to go, it was the outside of his body and his neck. And I picked him up and put him in that van. I looked at my shirt. There wasn't a drop of blood or anything. The bomb was so strong and sucked everything out. blood and everything. He was gone. But I dragged him away, and then he went in the hospital, and I sent my brother-in-law to call John Gotti, tell him what happened. And he said to come up there. I went around the block. My car was parked around the block when I met Frankie. When I got in
to get into that car?
When I got in that car, to be honest, I was scared stiff. I took my keys out. I couldn't put my key in the ignition. I was just breathing heavy. I closed my eyes, tightened my whole body, and turned the key. And it started. I expected maybe I'm going to get blown up. And I was really, that's a terrifying moment that I very rarely ever had in my life. But that was one of them. And I went to Queens and I talked, and he says, we sent Joe Watts to the hospital. He was dead. He's dead.
How long did it take before not only the Gambino family and the associates and the made people in the Gambino family accept that John would be boss, but what about the other four families? When did they accept that, okay, there's not going to be retribution, you guys are too crazy, we don't want to deal with crazy, we don't want a war? How long did it take before John then became the boss?
Well, there's a commission seat. Now, Paul had a seat, so John don't have a seat.
Right.
So we talked to the Genovese family and asked them that we wanted John. He was voted in. Mm-hmm. Now, we wanted him to have a seat. They agreed with that too, right away. They agreed to it not because of, they wanted that. They wanted to take us out on a sneak. They wanted to kill each and every one of us on a sneak. They're not going to let us know, yeah, okay, if that's what you want, we agree with that. John is your boss. You put him in a vote, in the school, in the basement, we accept it. And the same thing with getting even or doing anything. We'll give him a seat back. They're conning us.
Are you surprised they didn't come after you all and kill you all?
Well, they did.
They did come after you all.
They killed him.
Right.
They were planning on killing John Gotti, Chin. The people he thought he had, like the Banano people, Joe Messina, he thought he had them in his back pocket. They were close. Joe Messina got caught on tape. He says, this idiot destroyed the whole mafia, what he did, and the way he's conducted himself. So he didn't have people loving him, but we had so many guys around him, it was hard to hit him. You just couldn't, hit him. And then if you went to hit him and you missed, we were coming at your whole family. So they were trying to just play it easy and take their time. I talked with a woman one time who was close with Chin. She was in the next room when they were talking. My name came up. Chin said, I think we could give him a shot. Give him a pass. He loves construction. Let him do the construction business. We'll elevate him a little bit. I think we can give him a pass. 2 weeks later, Chin sat down in another meeting. That same girl was there. And she said, listen, he'll bullshit us. And he'll come at us if we kill John. We got to kill him too. So he talked about killing me too, with a woman. It wasn't tape, but it was a woman who told us. And John had a contract on him with the Jersey people, with the Genovese people. And I'm sure there's other people who had plans that I'm not aware of. But they were going to retaliate.
This goes back to your understanding. You said going into the life, you knew you were either going to spend your life in jail or be dead.
Yep, without a doubt. So now you got to live with that.
Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, you kind of defied the odds because under these circumstances, I could see everybody wanting to take you out at that point. A lot of people, at least.
A lot of people,
a lot
exactly.
Of people, for sure.
For the reason, people who didn't like you to begin with.
Right.
A lot of different reasons why they're going to take you out and blame it on he didn't ask permission.
Blame it on the hit, blame it on whatever.
Blame it on this or blame it on that. So there was all of those things. But we ran around. Listen, I was very tight. My guys were around me all the time.
But they were afraid of you because they thought you were nuts. all of you guys.
All of us were
like
nuts.
above, like. 'Cause
Exactly.
I think the life here, and here's, I guess, the next sort of question. Now, this was the most infamous hit ever, really. I mean, I think
without a
he
doubt.
took out a boss.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't happen.
Right.
I don't think it's ever happened since that I know of, that I recall.
But let me just add this.
Yeah.
When you said none of us died, Eddie Leno was killed. Bobby Borriello was killed.
Yeah, true.
So, guys, it wasn't just, Frankie the Chico.
Yeah.
Eddie Leno was killed.
High level people.
Oh, yeah, high-level people who were on the work.
Yeah.
So, some of us did die because of that.
So let me just ask about the issue. For example, when you join the life, you know you're going to have to kill, and you accept that going in. You believe in God. We talked about that. So my question is, you were given your first order to kill. Do you remember it?
Sure.
Talk.
My first, I was in the Colombo family.
Yeah.
And there was a guy, Joe Colucci. He was one of our crew. There was a bunch of us under Shorty Spiro. And his wife, a woman named Camille, very beautiful woman, sexy woman, banging everybody. Real loose as a goose. Joe Colucci finds out that Shorty's nephew, Tommy Spiro, is banging his wife.
That's a no-no.
That's a no-no. And Joe Colucci asks this guy Frankie for help. Frankie. So Frankie says, "What can I do to help you?" He says, "I want to kill Shorty Spiro and Sammy the Bull."
Why are you in that case?
Well, he says, "Okay, but why?"
Were you with that woman?
No.
You were not.
No.
Did you ever violate that rule? The rule is you don't go with other guys, girls or women.
Well, it's a maid guy going with another maid guy's wife. Not you can go with somebody else's wife or something. It wouldn't matter
Okay.
to them. But it's a maid guy going with another maid guy's wife. That's the rule. It's not you can go with somebody else's if he's not a maid guy. Maybe it's not right, but you don't get killed over it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so he says, "Listen, I know Tommy's banging my wife." He says, "And if I kill him, Shorty will put it together. 1, 2, 3. And then who the think he's going to send? Sammy? Yeah. So if I kill the two of them now, there'll be so much confusion. Then later, 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, I'll kill Tommy." So Frankie says, "Okay, I could help you." But he went straight to Shorty Spiro, and he says, "This is what I'm being asked by Joe Colucci." He went to Carmine Persico, who went to Joe Colombo. Joe Colombo gave the order, "Take this guy Colucci out and give it to Sammy. Let him do it."
So that's your.
That's my first hit.
That's your first murder.
Yeah.
That you did it by yourself.
No, I had guys
Well, you
with
had
me.
guys helping, but you pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
What's that like in the sense that, I don't think that, I guess we all try to project how would we react if we were in this situation or that situation. But you had already come to grips with the fact that this is a reality. Did you go home that night and feel like shit? Because I read, for example, you actually had to kill your own brother-in-law at one point, and you didn't like it. And
No.
you killed one other person. You said if you knew the family of the person that you were either killed yourself or were involved in the killing, you didn't like the feeling.
I never really liked the feeling. I'm not that kind of a killer.
Okay, explain that. What is that? What is the difference?
I'll tell you the first hit with Joe Colucci. We made a plan. We went to a restaurant late at night. We were going to an after-hour club, 2, 3 in the morning. And we had the plan on how to kill him. Because when they called me down, Carmine Persico, he said, "This is the story. And you got the hit." And I couldn't understand it, why he wanted to kill me. I wasn't banging his wife. I couldn't. I thought that they were bullshitting me to get me mad enough to want to kill. So when they said, "Who do you need on the hit?" I said, "Your nephew created this monster. Him, Frankie, who told you." Of course, I wanted to be able to talk to him. So when I was together with them, I asked Frankie. I said, "Frankie, he asked you to kill me and Shorty. Why didn't you come and tell me?" He said, "Sammy, I did what I was supposed to do. I went to the boss and told him, I saved your life. You mad at me?" When I thought about it, he was right. He did save my life. Instead of helping him, he went on and report. So in a way, he was right. Tommy was Tommy. So I went that night to kill him. And I saw movies that when somebody kills somebody the first time, they're sweating, they're scared to death, they're throwing up, they're doing all this weird shit. So that night, he was down in the basement, and he was going to come up. We were going to get in the car, and I was telling them how we're going to sit.
Yep.
We got in the car. Tommy was driving. Joe Colucci sat in the passenger seat. I sat in the back with a .38 under my belt. And Frankie sat behind him because he was trusting him. The Beatles song, Let It Be, was on the radio. And it was blasting because, I don't know, Tommy was probably so scared he's trying to cover the noise. How are you going to hear it? The windows are shut, but he's got it blasting. When we get down the block, about 3/4 of the way down the block, I take the gun out and I shoot him in the back of the head. He moves a little bit, but nothing really happens. And I said, "What the happened?" And I shot him again in the head. And then he slid to the side and bleeding. I said, "Get on the highway, get out of Bensonhurst, go up towards Queens, rich area, and we'll get off the highway and we'll dump the body over there." I don't know why, but I wanted to do that. So I did that. We went there. It was a dark street, just the street lights, beautiful homes, lawns all over the place. I said, "Pull over." They pulled over. I said, "Tommy, open the door and throw him out." Tommy was like, he touched him and he was like shaking. And he said, "Sammy, he's dead." I know he's dead. Open the door and kick him out. He was panic stricken. I climbed over Frankie. I said, "Open your window." I got out. I went there. I put my hand under his neck and his legs. It's the first time I picked up dead weight. He was a big guy, but it felt like 1,000 pounds to me. And I got him out, threw him on the grass, got back in, opened the window, and shot him 3 more times. And I told him, "Go on the highway. Don't speed. Don't do anything. Stop. We're going to get rid of the gun." On the way back, there's the ocean. We pulled out. I threw the gun in the ocean. We went back. We cleaned up the car. I went back to the room, and I'm expecting all these things to happen to me. This being nervous, sweating, all these things. And I'm in the shower. The water's hitting me on the head, rolling off my back. None of those things are happening to me. I get dried. We're all living together. I go in bed. I fell asleep in 2 seconds. Maybe I was exhausted, but I fell asleep like a baby. I woke up in the next, there was girls and guys in the apartment, everybody talking. Girls has the newspaper. "Oh my God, they killed Joe Colucci. They found him in whatever, Queens or wherever it was." I said, "Do they know who did it?" She said, "No, but they're investigating it." They all go down. I'm going to go downstairs. When I will go downstairs and I look at, there's a crowd of kids, I actually felt like an out-of-body experience. Like I was up in the air just looking at them, talking and making noise, and I wasn't part of that. And then somebody touched me and they said, "Shorty's here. He wants you to get in the car with Tommy Spiro and go downtown and report." And I woke up out of it. But I never forgot that I didn't feel anything. anything at all. I went down and I reported what happened. I was told by Shorty, don't talk to Carmine, let Tommy explain it. He explained the whole thing without him being nervous and didn't want to touch him. I didn't care what he said. But he told the whole thing. Carmine Persico grabbed me, hugged me, kissed me on both cheeks, says, you did a great piece of work, bro. You broke your cherry. How do you feel? Okay. I don't know what to tell him. And that was it. It was over. Then we had to go to his funeral. And when I went to his funeral, obviously I knew his wife, I knew his kids, I knew his mother, I knew his fathers, I knew his whole family. And when I turned around, I went to the coffin like everybody was going and looked at him, and then turned around and looked at the whole family crying, who's broken down, an old lady, they're holding her up, and somebody's... I says, oh my God, this is what I did. Not him. He did that to himself. He wanted to kill Shorty. He wanted... Go get a divorce if you don't want to be with this broad. You start wanting to whack guys who ain't even doing nothing with her. And that's the way I felt. But it bothered me to see his family like that.
You felt bad for the family, not bad you did it.
No. In a way, I said, this is what you wanted to do. This is the rules. You got caught up. Frankie told him the truth. And that's the truth of the matter. That's what happened. This is her fault.
So in this 20-year period, I don't know if you've ever answered this. I actually looked, and I didn't see that you ever gave a direct answer, because you admitted in your testimony to involvement in 19 murders. First it was 18, then you said, no, I remember one more, it was 19. And different aspects of it, planning it like you did in the case of, the boss.
Castellano.
Yeah, Castellano. This particular case, you pulled the trigger, but you played different roles in the 19 different. How many did you actually kill yourself?
Well,
you didn't remember?
No, I remember. Everyone, there's a different function to everyone.
Like you played a different role, in other words.
It doesn't matter the role. I mean, I obviously could pull the trigger. I'll shoot anybody or anything if I feel like it. It's not the thing. Here's what happened earlier in my life. My Gambino alley boy was a real tough guy. Tato, and this is when I first started, Tato called me in and said, Sammy, every time you go on a stick-up with your Gambino and people, and I hear the stories, why are you always the first guy in, pulling the gun out, telling everybody, get on the ground? Why are you doing that? I said, because my Gambino's got my back. He's tough as nails. And I know I'm comfortable with that arrangement. He said, yeah, alley boy's a tough guy. Yeah, you're right. But he's got no brains. He's reactionary. He's reactive. Mm-hmm. If a cop is walking by and he's off duty, he don't even know what's going on. There's a robbery going on. He'll shoot the cop. You'll think of a way out of the thing without shooting the cop. Now, you'll shoot him if he, turns and pulls a gun and tells you, hold up. I know you'll shoot him. But you're a thinker. Be a thinker, not a shooter. Anybody could pull the trigger if he's there. If he don't belong there, then you got guys who don't belong. That's, made me think. And I talked to my Gambino and I says, Ali, Tato didn't knock you, but this is what he's saying. And you are. You react right away, bro, with everything.
Was it?
So I don't care about who shoots.
You're part of it.
I'm part of it. I mean, without my part, does the Castellano hit happen? Hell no. So you say, well, you didn't shoot him. There's 11 guys. What do I say? Only to shoot him? So the guys with don't need much brains or thinking. You guys are going to be the shooters.
Is there, at this point in your life, I mean, you're older now. This happened from 1970 to 1990. It's almost a murder year for 20 years. Does it ever come in? Does it bother your conscience? Does it ever dawn on you? What the hell was I thinking? Why did I join that life? Do you even care?
Yeah, of course I care, and I've thought about it.
How do you feel about it?
It's what I did in my life when I thought it was proper and right and stuff. When I was betrayed by John, which I loved him, and he found it very easy to betray me.
I'm going to get to that in a minute, but on the murder part.
Well, that's on the murder part.
Is there any, like, for example, you're married. You're part of the planning. I don't think you pulled the trigger in the case of your brother-in-law.
No, but I'm in the car with him. I drove him to this place.
To get killed.
To get killed.
Yeah.
I got guys who were going to kill him in the thing. Picked him up, put him in my car. Let's drive over here. I got some monies and some stuff. Go in that place and pick it up and come out. And he goes in this place. Boom. And all I hear is boom, boom, boom. Couple of shots. And he's dead.
When did you have to tell your wife that you were involved in that?
When I cooperated.
She didn't know until then?
No.
How'd she react to that?
How would you think she would react?
I think she'd be pissed.
She not pissed. She broke out in tears. She said, Sammy, what do I tell my mother, my father? You went to the funeral with us. They found a hand.
Is that hard?
Sure was hard. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. Another thing that...
Why did that hit happen?
So Paul Castellano had enough of him. He grabbed Frankie the Chico and he said, listen, go down, get Sammy's top 3 guys. Don't tell Sammy nothing. Tell them to kill this kid and throw him in the fucking street. Frankie says, you don't want me to tell Sammy? No. And he came down, he talked with Louis Melito, Stymie, and the old man Peruta. And they said, we love this guy. We'll be lying to him for the rest of our lives. He's going to go nuts when he finds out somebody killed his brother-in-law. We can't do it. We won't do it. Frankie told him, you know what it is to refuse an order from a boss?
No.
We're not doing it. Frankie, I can't. I'll never be able to look at him again. He went back to Paul and said, Paul, they didn't do this in a bad way. They love this guy. They can't do it. They said this in a good way. Paul, you know Sammy's 100% Cosa Nostra. Give him a order. Don't do this to these guys. He said, okay. Frankie, go meet Sammy in the basement. Tell him what I want done. Bring a gun. If he goes crazy or gets stupid or whatever it is, shoot him. Kill him. That's your order. Frankie came back. He grabbed me. He told me what happened, told me the whole thing. I said, my guys refused? Yeah. And he wants me to do it. Yeah. Frankie, please. Give me 2 hours. I want to talk to my guys and then come back. I'll tell you my decision. If I'm not going to do it, I'm going to go to war. He said, Sammy, they'll kill them, your guys, and you, and me. He picked up his shirt. He said, I don't have a gun. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to kill you right now. I'll get killed too. We'll all die. And that kid's going to die anyway. Give me 2 hours. And he left. I grabbed them all, sat with them, looked at them. They're going to die. Frankie the Chico may die over this kid. I couldn't do that. When Frankie came back, I says, Frankie, tell him I'm going to take care of it.
And
Frankie left. And I did. I didn't want to shoot him myself. I didn't want to. And I took him in a car with me talking. And I got to go somewhere. I got to make a stop. I got to pick up some things. You're going to go in this place and pick it up. And then we're going to go over here. And I gave him a bullshit story. And that's what we did. But when he went in that place, I heard the shots. And I left. They cut him up and got rid of his body. A dog found his finger or bit the finger off, whatever it is. And he had a record, so when the cops, the dog went home with the finger. When they called the cops, they took the fingerprint. It was him. And then they come back in my house, and this started all over again. And my family's telling me about it. I says, we'll find out. I don't know what to say or do. And I watched that funeral, not even a full body. And that killed me too. But that was the life. And he did a number of things. I saved him so many times. And I think part of that family, especially my wife, understood and forgave me. The rest of them didn't. So I've never had a relationship with them again. Part of the family hated me. Part of the family understood what happened when they heard the stories and knew it. And that was it. And I hid it, of course, until
until you
I cooperated.
Then that's when you told everything. Well, you didn't really tell everything, because and we'll get to this too. You would not talk about John Gotti Jr., which is interesting, even though you were mad at his father. Let me ask you this. I'm just curious from a psychological, religious, spiritual standpoint, because you said at the beginning of this podcast that you have a belief in God, and I believe you. And you raised Catholic. You know what it says about shall not murder.
Yeah.
You know about these cases you're involved in and how you lived your life. Do you worry? Have you ever felt remorse, repentance? Repentance from Latin means change of heart. Do you feel like you've reconciled this with God, or do you want to?
No, I already did.
You did?
I did my time with judges and lawyers and cops and agents and everything like that. I had a horrible life with a lot of scars. I did a lot of time, a little over 23 years of my life in prisons. How did I rectify it? When I broke the oath of omertà, and I went on the government side and left John Gotti, that was the first thing I've done. One. Later on in life, I would go into California, talking to friends. I was going to do a scripted show, a movie, this, that, and the other thing. And I heard this pastor giving speeches from the Ocean Church. And it really hit me again. He found out I was in his audience, and he gave some of the people I went with, they were legitimate people. When I was there, I was staying with them. They wanted me to go to church. I broke their chops. I said, listen, if I go to church, the whole thing will burn down. No, it won't, Sammy. Come with us. And I went. And then the pastor, wanted to talk to me. I went there on a Saturday. Sunday was Mass. I went there on a Saturday, and I talked with him. And we had a great conversation. And he wanted me to become a born-again Christian. And he said, your story, he says, Jesus will forgive you. And he said, your story will help so many people. If Jesus could save you, maybe millions of people will become Christians and want to be saved. And I thought about that. It was time for me to come back to a church and start to believe in God like I always did, but in a different way, not Catholic, Christian. And I agreed. So he said, Sammy, I'll do it on the beach. There'll be tens of thousands of people, all kinds of law enforcement, all kinds of things. I said, no. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it private. I don't want to make a big show out of this thing. It looked like a scam to me to do all this stuff. I want to do this privately, if that's okay with you. So I will get a home. A friend, one of his people there owned a beautiful home. I'll put you in a pool and I'll baptize you. So I said, you know my whole story? Yes. And in the Bible, when you start reading the Bible, there are people who did a hell of a lot worse than you, believe it or not. And Jesus forgave a lot of people, and he'll forgive you if it's coming from your heart.
Moses killed somebody.
A lot of people.
King David,
Adam.
Went through the whole thing.
There's a whole bunch of them. And he
By the
saved.
way, just so you know, there is a Bible quote that says, all have sinned and fallen short. All.
Yes, that's just what he told me too. He said, Sammy, everybody is.
I get reminded by my kids all the time.
Yeah. And so, and he told me that. So I said, listen.
But were you sorry in your heart? Like, why did I live that life? I wish I didn't do it. Because you said that if all this stuff with Gotti didn't happen, you would still be in the life. Or you thought you would be.
I thought I would be more than likely. I mean, I loved my crew and people I had around me. I loved their families. I wasn't, I wouldn't have went that easy. I had relationships with a lot of people, their families and everything. Not just them, that they were gangster, their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their wives, their kids. I knew a lot of people. And they were very, very close with me. Some of them till today, 60 years later. I got somebody sitting here who was there when I got a call from an ex-girlfriend who was sick from 60 years ago. I wasn't a monster all my life. I wasn't a monster even when I was killing. I never killed an innocent, a woman, a child, or an innocent civilian, a guy outside their life.
So let me ask you, when you went through your baptism, because I think a lot of, I haven't heard you talk a lot about this, and just when you went through this, it really did change you, it sounds like.
It did.
You really now want to live the life. You believe in your heart. Like, for example, God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son. Whoever believes in him shall have everlasting life.
Mm-hmm.
And you believe your sins are forgiven because he suffered, died on a cross, rose again.
Yes.
And you sought that forgiveness. You've asked for that forgiveness. And you believe God forgives all of us.
Yes.
That asked for it.
Yes. And that is so many reasons that I've changed my life. I've got people suing me, people doing this to me, people doing that to me. They would be dead if it would be years ago, and I was not. If I was just bullshitting about what I believe.
Saved.
Yes, good for them. Because I would have killed them.
No, I understand.
I mean, so I did change my life. And then, later on, I have a friend who is a school teacher. He's been a school teacher 23 or 24 years. And I talked with him not too long ago, a year or two ago, a couple of years ago. And he had a program that he was doing. And I said, what is it? And he said, Prep National. I said, what's that? And I started talking to him about Prep National and stuff like that. After becoming a born-again Christian, and they help kids in their life, going through life. And a lot of kids you can help, so many kids. So I left the life, one change. I became a born-again Christian, another huge change. And then I bunked into this. And I became an advocate for it. because I was dyslexic. I went through things that were a nightmare. I don't think I would have wound up like this if I would have had help at an early age. What I'm looking at with him doing, and another woman.
They didn't
who's
know what dyslexia was.
No.
My buddy Stephen A. Smith, the same thing. They did not know what it was.
No.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. And your brain is looking at things. You know, I had a woman one time, she gave me a document, like you're holding, with small printing. She said, here, read that. I looked at it. It was blurry to me. I know there's words in there, letters in there that are backwards. I'm not sure what the hell the word was. And I said, I can't. She said, you can't? Why? I said, you have a piece of paper blank? And she gave me a blank piece of paper. And I took a pencil. And I scribbled on the paper. And I said, here.
That's what it looks like.
Read that to me. She says, I can't. It's scribbling. Well, what you gave me, that's exactly what it looks like to me.
Good explanation.
I mean, she was blown away. She was blown away. And then I even had a woman from Israel who found out, I don't know how, through my stories or whatever, and she said they have a thing in Israel that they use. They use dark color ink on different things, blue, yellow, white pages, different color pages. A dyslexic could see on a white page, can't make it up. It's all jiggly like. And on a blue or a yellow, they could see it fairly clear. She said, would you like to have help with that? I said, I was in the 70s. I said, no, I think I'm too old for it now. I wish I would have had that years ago. But anyway, you know, like I want to get back to, I was talking with my friend and another woman named Jessica, who is a guest of mine here today. And
Hello.
Yeah, and she got me into the church.
Are you dating her?
No.
Just asking. That's your husband. Better
That's-
not be dating her.
Yeah.
You're going to get whacked.
I know. No, they're a couple. They're both friends of mine. I invited both of them.
And you're involved in a charity with him.
Yeah.
And to help kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
K through 12.
No, that's very cool. Let me get to this part, because
Yeah.
do you realize we've been talking an hour and a half already? Crazy.
You know,
I could talk to you all day.
you want to know something? I was just going to say that to you.
Yeah.
I think I could talk to you all day. Sometimes I'm very
Well,
comfortable talking.
but I'm so interested in it. I know that everybody else is too. And to get the inner workings of the stuff that you've lived through and the stuff that happened and the life that you lived, I think for a lot of people is just it's just not a life that most people understand. Or maybe I understand a little more because I grew up in New York and I studied, like I was obsessed with this. I just, then the people that were part of that life and so on and so forth. And I got to know a lot of those guys. Just on the periphery, never part of it, never hung with them, never did any of that stuff. So you get into this issue where, and I've noticed in other interviews, and as I was researching you, that you get really mad if somebody uses the term, well, you went against the code, you went against omertà, you went against, and you hate the word rat. And then but you have a long explanation about what happened with you and John Gotti, because he became the boss, you were his number two, you became the underboss then at some point. And there's a tape of John Gotti that you heard. On that tape, you felt he was throwing you down the stairs and trying to blame all the murders on you. You felt you were betrayed, which led to you cooperating. Why don't you explain it yourself rather than me explain it?
Okay, well, he got caught on tape.
Right.
Talking to Frankie LaCasio.
He talked to a lot of people. He talked a lot outside the club.
Talked about that Castellano here. Talked about everything.
Oh.
I mean, he wrecked everything and everybody. So with the tape we're talking about, there was him, me, Frankie LaCasio, and Tommy Gambino got pinched too.
Right.
But the judge severed his case to hear it on the side.
Right.
Now, At first, I was annoyed in a way, like, man, you don't know when to shut your mouth. But it went beyond that. In other words, anybody could get caught on tape. I can't blame you for that.
Didn't you know, what was the name of the club? I mean, you guys hung out there all the time. And
The Ravenite?
yeah, didn't they know that they were likely being surveilled?
Well, they weren't inside the club. It was even worse. There was an
The apartment upstairs.
apartment upstairs.
Right.
A maid guy lived in that apartment with his wife, and he died. He was an old guy. Now, his wife was an old woman. She still had the apartment. The guy, the coffee guy, his name was Norman. It was his aunt. So he'd have private meetings up there, throw the aunt a few dollars, thanks a lot, go shopping, whatever. And that's where he got caught on tape.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand when he's talking about me with Frankie, and I find this out way later, so it's not the reason I cooperated, but I find it out later. He's going to take me out. So when he's talking to Frankie, he's saying, Sammy's killing people, taking over their businesses. He's saying all these things. Some of it's true, some of it's not. But he wants Frankie to go around to the captains and explain, Sammy has lost his mind. He's really killing all kinds of people. It's great. He lost his mind. Now, before the pinch even came, he calls me in and says, and you know how much I loved Frankie the Chico. When I went to Frankie the Chico's wake, I looked at him in this box, and I felt him all blown up. I told him, Frankie, I give you my word, everybody who gave an order to this thing, who knew about this thing, who didn't tell us about it, I will kill them all. I will have 50 hits. I will kill every person involved with it, did this to you. That's how I loved him. So when he talked to me, he says, Sammy, I'm almost sure now, because we suspected it was Chin. Gigantic, because he's got connections, he's got the balls, he's got everything for that. He says, it was Chin. I'm sure. I got connections. My blood pressure must have went through the roof. You know for sure now? Yeah. I want you to take him out. This is a boss of an extremely powerful family. It was music to my ears. I said, good. I'll set up and I'll kill him. You sure? Yes. Now I'm working on the hit to kill Chin. I'm setting up a team. I'm going to kill him in his club while he's sitting with his friends playing cards. And whoever the is in that club, I have a machine gun, an Uzi Israeli machine gun. We're going to kill everybody in that joint. That's how hot I am. So he's got this, he's going to take me out in his mind. You couldn't take me out. I'm an underboss. 1. 2, everybody's earning with me. 3, when he's giving people orders to kill people, he's sending me on those hits with them. That's why I'm on these hits. So now they look at me differently. When they see me, I'm not just somebody sitting in a club giving an order. They're saying this Sammy, he's got an underboss. He's on the street with a gun with us. There's a different relationship you make. You can understand that? So I'm being loved by them. And there's tapes of him saying, Sammy could just take me the out, and he could take over in 5 minutes. So he can't just take me out. It would backfire on him. Right. So he's building this case with Frankie LaCassa to run around with the captains. Now, think about it. He's giving me the order to kill Chin, and I'm setting up. Now, here's the plan. Here's his evil plan. He's going to say, go. I'm going to kill Chin. I'm going to come back and talk with him the next day. How'd you make out, bro? I killed him and about 4, 5, 6 other people in the club. Okay, great, Sammy. Great. Gives me a kiss on the cheek. We got to go somewhere. I go there. He kills me. Now, he could tell the captains in the family, hey, bro, Sammy lost his mind. He killed Chin. I love the guy, but what could I do when he told me he killed him and he wants to take over everything? And then he could go to the Genovese people and say, a bad enemy for him. Hey, my guy, Sammy, he killed your man. Mm-hmm. And he came and told me. And he wanted to take over. You know I love Sammy, bro. I had to kill him. And he's dead. And, bro, I'll back you to be the boss. So he's got escapes plans on all ends. How to get rid of me. Can't just get rid of me. Nicky Scarfo did that in Philadelphia. Got rid of his close people. Everybody turned on him. And they get scared. If he could kill Sammy, bro, he could kill anybody. They're so close. So he's trying to get out of that thing. And he gets caught on tape. And now we're pinched. So I'm saying to him...
When did you first become aware that he had said this shit?
In court.
You didn't know before then?
No, I didn't know none of that. In court. And then, you know F. Lee Bailey?
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this one. F. Lee Bailey...
He was in the OJ case, for people that don't know.
Yeah. F. Lee Bailey is going to be a lawyer on our case.
Mm-hmm. Good lawyer.
Great lawyer.
Yeah.
You can't get no better. Mm. And F. Lee Bailey comes into the thing, and he tells John Gotti, you can't beat this case. This is you on tape admitting to all these things. Mm-hmm. He said, I got a plan. F. Lee Bailey tells him, what's your plan? He wants to negotiate a plea for us. Probably couldn't do it anyway, but he says, I'm going to throw Frankie, Licasio, and Sammy under a bus. F. Lee Bailey left and never came back.
Wanted no part of it.
Wanted no part of it. Years later, and living in Arizona, way years later, I'm going to a place. I'm going to get a not makeup. What do you call that? What do you call that? Not a shave. Oh, what do you call that?
Botox? I don't know.
No, not Botox.
Massage?
A facial.
Facial.
I'm going to get a facial.
There you go.
A facial.
It's like facial for 10.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a facial, and I get a call from Jerry Capisi. You know who that is?
Yeah.
And Jerry Capisi says, Sammy, are you sitting down? I says, I'm going in for a facial. I'll be sitting down in a few minutes. He says, F. Lee Bailey just did an interview with me. What'd he say? He says he told me the story about how John said he was going to throw you and Frankie Licasio under the bus. And he never came back because I asked him, why didn't you represent him? He says, I won't do that. He told you that in an interview? Yeah. And this is years later.
Wow.
So here's a guy who's a, reporter type of guy, and did this with F. Lee Bailey in an interview.
So, okay, the oath that you took when you signed up is no matter what, you don't ever talk. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I guess this is where some people might be critical, some people might not, whatever. Now, you hear about this betrayal, and you're facing life in prison yourself at this point.
Yeah.
okay? And you're like, he broke it first, therefore, I'm not obligated at this point to protect him.
I didn't have that kind of mentality at all.
Explain it.
Towards the end, when all these things are happening, F. Lee Bailey's gone, this is happening, that's happening, and I'm piecing this together. And the lawyers, his lawyers now, are saying, he says, I'm going to control all the lawyers. What are they going to say?
Right.
They're going to turn around, including your lawyer, Sammy, and say to the jurors, you heard the tapes. Sammy's a monster, killed all these people, took over the businesses and everything. Poor John Gotti, you hear him complaining on the tape. It's not him. It's him. Are you going along with that? He says, I have to. The boss must go free. I don't mind you got caught on tape, but now you're going to have these lawyers tell the jury you're backing, and that's what the government is saying. Now, all the lawyers, including my lawyer, is going to agree with the government and make me the monster so you can go free. I just told you, I have to. I'm the boss. The boss must go free. I didn't make all that judgment stuff. I said, okay. And I walked away. Well, as I walked away, I said, the mafia, the oath, and John Gotti. I'm switching sides. He wants to play chess with me? Let's play chess. And I started playing chess. I joined them. And I got to say the truth. The FBI and the government and Gleason and people like that never lied to me, never did anything compared to this. So that oath. And the mafia. Do I regret it? No. I should have pulled away a long time ago. But you opened my eyes. I'm hanging on to loyalty, killing people, doing this and doing that and doing that, loving the shit out of you. And then this is what you want to do. And I'm not even mad. We could be talking right now. You're caught on tape. Hannity's a friend of mine. He got caught on tape? Nah, it could happen. But you want to join the government now and hurt me because you got caught on tape? No, you, Hannity. I'll walk away from you.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just loyal.
that's
It's
what I'm saying.
Loyalty's got to be a two-way street,
It
doesn't
definitely has to be a two-way street. If you want me to abide by the omertà, you got to do that too.
It's got to be everybody.
It's got to be everybody. It's got to be, that's what we do. We live and die for.
Okay, so that the John part I understand, but you also testified against others.
Yeah.
Did they betray you as well?
No.
Or you just said
No.
all this?
No. But I didn't do that. When I made my deal with the government, I said, listen, I will never cooperate against my family, one. Number two, I will never cooperate against my crew. I ordered them to go on a hit. I can't sit across from them and send them to prison. I will not do that. And there's a woman who set up something for us. I won't, she didn't want to do it. I won't cooperate against her either.
You didn't cooperate against John Gotti Jr.
And I don't want to cooperate against him.
Why?
Because it'll look like vengeance. Why do I want to put him away? What do I give a about him?
He's left a life, hasn't he?
Huh?
He says he's left a life.
He added it too. I mean, and he's just a bullshit artist. He could say whatever the
You guys have a feud going on. Well, I don't want to get off track.
It's not a feud.
So,
he did what he did.
So let me ask you this. So you were in custody for 4 years or whatever it was at the time. Your cooperation, the judge in the case says it leads to the greatest, takedown of the mob ever in history by far. John Gotti gets life in jail. Your justification is he wanted to make me the fall guy. I'm not taking that shit. The oath goes both ways. I got your story. And then you basically you get a 5-year sentence out of that.
5 years.
5 years.
And I was
And
already
you
in
served most
4.
of the time. You already served 4.
I was in 4 when I got
Were
sent.
you actually in prison, or were you just under house arrest?
No,
or-
I was in prison.
You were there.
Yeah.
Okay. Prison's got to suck. I'd imagine it sucks.
Yeah.
Now, how were you treated in prison? Usually, if you are even perceived as somebody that cooperated, it's usually frowned upon. Would you ever looked at like that? You are.
Well, here, let's put it this way. All of this conversation happened. Then I leave and I go to Arizona.
Right. You're in the witness protection program.
Well, for a short period of time.
Right. Then you left it.
And I left it. Right. And I'm in Arizona.
Did you get facial surgery too to alter your looks?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
They don't look much different.
No, I was in a little nip and tuck.
Yeah,
It was
whatever.
it was not a big deal. But I went to Arizona. And my son and my family moved there, and I went there. And my son in Arizona was doing ecstasy and built a little business. I stuck my nose in it. I got involved in it. I lent them money, and I got pinched. I became the main thing.
Yeah.
Even in court, I never bought ecstasy, I never sold ecstasy, and I never used it. But my son was facing a lot of time. My wife was pinched. My daughter was pinched. My niece, his boyfriend, was pinched. I made a deal with them. What did the do you want? There's no murders, there's no nothing. What do you want? They want you to say that you were the boss and you were the whole thing. What would you do for my son?
You wouldn't.
I said, what would you do for my son? I asked him.
If you were asking them, what would you do?
What would you do?
If you did that?
Yeah, well,
What'd they
first of
say?
all, my lawyers told me my son got pinched in Arizona and on a mirror case in New York, along with me. It's 2 of us.
Right.
So now he's facing 45 years with the feds, 25 years with the state, and he's a kid. So I said, what do they want? They want you, Sammy. To do what? They want you to cop to that you knew what was going on, you were the boss, you funded it, you did everything. Make the deal.
You said that.
Yes. My son got 9.3 years. My son-in-law got 9.3 years. My wife's case was thrown out. My daughter's case was thrown out. And I got 20 years lifetime supervised release and a $100,000 fine and was happy to get it because I cut them all loose. So I'm not afraid of prison and I'm not afraid of nothing. But I'm going to give you the best point. I'm 55 years old with a rat label. Do I want to go in a witness unit? No. What are you committing suicide? No. I'll be all right. What are you going to do? I'm going to put on my hat. I'm going to tattoo the up. I'm going to kill the first person who with me. And then we'll see how many people are going to with me. I'll make them know who the sent me the
And
boys.
what happened?
I did the whole time. I'm still here. And there's a lot of guys in
Did you have to
in
kill
prison.
anybody?
No, I didn't
Did
kill
you
any.
get tested? You got tested.
I got tested a couple of times.
And you could fight.
I could fight.
And you didn't care.
No.
That's the only way you can fight, actually. You
Yeah,
have to- you have to-
listen, I boxed. I trained. I was a boxer, street fighter, all my life.
I do mixed martial arts. I've been training for 15 years. One day we'll talk about it.
Right.
This is my passion. I love it.
Yeah, and I
Situational street
did that
fighting.
too. So, and I don't walk around like my shit don't stink. I'm Sammy the Bull. I got along with people pretty good.
That's what I read that. What you said is that in prison you kept your head down, you were nice to people, you would mind your own business.
Right.
And a lot of times if you just do that and be
works.
respectful,
Right.
it works.
Right.
Shut your mouth.
Because what happened is I made a lot of friends in prison for different reasons. In some of them prisons, I played cards with black guys and played ball with them all the time, joking, laughing, playing cards. Sometimes, so I had a lot of black friends. I had a lot of guys, AB guys. I made friends with them. It started with doing artwork. I started doing artwork. Somebody helped me, and I was working with them.
And now everyone's out. I'm not going to talk about where you live, but
Yeah.
if
I'm in Arizona. You want to come down,
well,
commit suicide? Come on down.
Why would I commit suicide?
No, not you.
Oh, you're talking about other people.
Your audience.
No, I mean, I'll crack a beer with you. We'll have a drink.
Yeah.
You know what I found interesting is you have told your family, because of the unique circumstances of your situation, that if anyone comes and just whacks you, don't hold it against them.
Don't hold it against the
Because they're
shooter.
just following the rules.
They're following rules. They're
So you
ordered
think
to come. Maybe they'll come and kill me. Maybe the guy will get sick. I don't want to kill him. I like him. And he's under orders. So I said, you can't blame the shooter. You got to blame the guy who gave the order, if you want to blame anybody. But I've been in the life all my life. Leave it alone.
Why do you think guys like you, like John Gotti Jr. was in for a while? I actually ran into him. I lived in the same town as him for a while when I lived in New York. Ran into him at a grocery store. We had a nice conversation. I didn't know him that well, but and then, Michael Francesi, who's been on this show, who I liked him a lot. I thought he was very smart.
Yeah.
And he's found a good way to make a living with his family. He brought his whole family with him. Why do you think things have changed so dramatically? Like, it's like you're old school, and then the breaking point happened here, where everything changed. Everyone started kind of looking out for themselves. What was the breaking point in the mob? Because it's nothing like what it used to be.
The government took, they made new laws. The RICO law.
RICO.
When before my time, there was no RICO law, and you could make deals all over the place. The RICO law was so complex, so they couldn't beat it. Then they started doing, even when I cooperated, I saw them doing a lot of things. They have in the back, they call a war room.
Right.
They have 5, 6, 7 really smart, really powerful lawyers, and they sit in that room. Now, I would tell a couple of black friends of mine, the guy says, Sammy, should I take a plea? Yeah, if you can get a good plea, take a plea. Why? The RICO law, you're under the RICO law too. So you're going to, in that war room, there's going to be 5 or 6 powerful, smart attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
The investigators, for them, is the FBI. Not a powerful organization. You're going to have some drunken ex-cop who's going to be your investigator.
Right.
You're going to have some lawyer who's an ambulance chaser.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the sides. You're going to get slaughtered. Why do you think they win 98% of their cases? The RICO law is murder on people. And it spread for not only, it started with Italians, then it went to Hispanics, blacks, it went to everybody. It's almost an impossibility to beat it. It's rigged. It's a rigged by the government.
Do you really believe, if you told your family that if you get killed, don't hold it against the guy that did it, do you think your life's in jeopardy now, or they let you go?
No, yeah, I think it's over.
Huh.
A long time ago, it's over.
Because you're out and about now.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
I talked to my parole officers one day, and they said, you can't go to New York and you can't go to Jersey. So I said, why? This is a while ago. And I said, why?
Why would you want to?
Well, here's the answer they gave. I said, why? You afraid I'm going to get killed? No, Sammy. No, it's not that at all. Somebody in Washington said there's a lot of confidential informants, and they got bugs in all of these clubs. They're talking freely. A lot of them love you. They like the way you talk on your things. You don't knock the mafia. You talk about this. And they're afraid when you go back and you find that kind of a welcoming, you may want to try to take over. And I said, that's crazy. I'm not going to want to do that. There was a woman, I don't want to give up her name, it's a pro, it's a heavyweight, and she said, I know that. I'm dealing with you for 8, almost 9 years now. I know that. But some knucklehead in Washington, that's the way they think. And they don't want you to go there.
Let me ask you this. Last question. What's next for you? I mean, I would imagine, I've watched interviews with you. I could just sit here like this and hear story after story after story. I don't know why. I'm not the only one. It's my friends. It's everybody I know. Fascinated with this life that you lived and just can't believe that, especially when you go back, because I knew what the life my parents lived. I feel bad for my parents. They both died pretty young. My dad 30 years ago. And grew up dirt poor, depression, fought in World War II. My mom, poor, South Bronx. She ended up being a prison guard. She was the valedictorian of her high school class. She was genius and couldn't afford college. That was not in the equation. She worked double shifts her whole life so her kids could go to Catholic school.
Right.
Good salt of the earth people.
Yeah.
I know I stand on their shoulders and their parents' shoulders and all that. And I think of the life that I have, and it's kind of undeserved because they were better people than me in a lot of ways, And, but that upbringing, people don't know that old school. They don't understand the old school way of thinking and doing things because that generation had to survive.
Right.
Irish Catholic need not apply. That's my background. Look at the names Italian Americans were called, African Americans, and the discrimination they went through. Every ethnic group has been through it.
Yeah. We were hung.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
Back. Sicilians, when they came here, they hung them.
I remember. Oh.
Remember? I forgot the state
Sure.
it was in. But they hung them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Every immigrant that came in at some point, but they had to deal with this shit.
Right. And they did deal with it and get through it, but some people just can't get through it.
What's next for you? Are you just in a...
What's next? At my age, I want to live. I got children.
Got this great charity. You got
Yeah.
You're working on.
I'm working with that charity, and
Cool.
I got children, grandchildren, and a great grandchild now.
Your great grandpa?
Yeah.
How old?
The kids.
Yeah.
2.
Okay. You babysitting? You changing diapers?
No, they live in Jersey.
Yeah.
But I'm a great grandfather now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm really concerned with this charity that I'm working with now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I brought that woman down with me in case she wanted to talk to her and see what it was all about. It's a great.
And her husband.
And her husband.
That's why you better not be dating her. There are rules about that,
Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing all this. What an unbelievable life you've led. The best part for me, to be very honest, I'm glad that you've changed your heart. I do believe in redemption, forgiveness, and that was the whole purpose. The whole story of Jesus is about forgiveness.
Absolutely.
All of these great figures in the Bible, from David to Moses to many others, yeah. I mean, King David, of all people, had the Bathsheba, couldn't withstand her, wanted her, sends her husband to the front line to get killed, and God forgave him. And you said you sought it, and I think that is the best part of your overall story, although the other shit's pretty interesting as hell, too. Sammy the Bull, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode, hanging out with me, Sean Hannity. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you never, ever, ever, ever miss an episode. We've got a lot more great, really great content coming your way. We hope you'll subscribe.